Everything looks good in here. Well, it's February 26th, 2020 right now. I just got back up to camp. It doesn't look like anybody's been effing around out here, so that's pretty cool. And I got some shoveling to do at the end of the driveway so I can get the car in a little bit further. But everything's looking pretty good. Had some warm weather this week, and figured I'd come up here and get all set up. Also, yeah, it's February 26, 2020, which means coronavirus was just upgraded to a pandemic today by the World Health Organization and the CDC. So, being a prepper and being pretty paranoid, I figured it was time to get out of the city for the summer and start getting my stuff set up for gardening and just get myself set up for this summer and for the spring. I figured I'd just come up here, and I brought everything up with me because I've been staying with my mom over the winter because I didn't really have enough firewood to survive out here. And I should have enough wood to get through the rest of the spring, and I have a couple saws with me so I can go out and collect wood, and I should have everything I need. I also brought all my preps up here, my long-term preps, which is like my buckets of rice and buckets of pasta and a bunch of canned goods and stuff, and I'm just gonna spend most of my time up here now. When I go down to the city, I'll wear a mask when I have to go to the store, but I'm not gonna go to the store much. Maybe once a month I'll take a trip down to town and go to the store, but it's gonna be like last summer. Once my gardens get going and everything, I'm just gonna stay up here for the summer. And I should have enough canned goods and everything to get me to the point where my garden's producing. So for the most part, we're just going to be up here now. And hopefully I'm just being paranoid, but Italy got the virus this week, and it has been doubling every single day there. And, they're the first country to really get it really bad outside of China. And it sounds like Iran has it really bad too, and that they're starting to fall apart at the seams. So I'm just getting set up here and get everything ready. That way, if my family has to come up here to join me at some point to get away from the city, I'll have everything ready and all situated. Because I don't have any kids of my own, but my sisters all have kids, and I have 3 sisters and a little brother, and then my mother and my father. So we obviously can't stay in this small one-room cabin, but if we have to, we'll put the canvas tent back up and we'll get all set up here. And if we have to, we'll buy a camper or something to pull out here so everybody has a place to be. That way we don't have to be down there where the infection is. But hopefully it's not going to be that bad. But yeah, it's February 26th and coronavirus has been upgraded to a pandemic. So the World Health Organization is telling people to prepare. And a lot of people in China have 700 million people quarantined in China right now for the last 3 weeks. And now there's millions of people quarantined in Italy. There's millions of people quarantined in Iran. And there's going to be a lot more countries. And eventually it might get so bad that people in the U.S. are quarantined. So just getting ready for that. Hopefully that's not the case. But I'm going to get the shovel and go clear out the end of the driveway. I got a trail all shoveled to the cabin. Almost got this driveway area shoveled out so I can get that fence open and then park on this side of the fence. It's like when I'm in the city, I sit on the computer all day, even play some video games, which I haven't done in years, but in the city I don't do anything. I gained like 25 pounds this winter. And it's because I'm introverted. That's why I bought a property way out here. So when I'm in town, I'm staying with my family. And I don't even like going outside and working on the bushes or the garden we have out at the house. Just because I always just feel like there's tons of people that could be watching you and something. I don't know. I'm just not comfortable in the city. I haven't been since I was pretty young. But now that I'm older and set in my ways, I'm really not comfortable there. So I just sit on the computer all day on YouTube and talking to all the guys in the YouTube community. yeah, and just basically do what a lot of my handicap friends do. That's what I do during the winter, just hang out on the computer and stuff. And but those guys can't actually get out into the woods. I'm still in healthy enough shape where I should be out here and I should be working all the time. So like as soon as I get here, I have to shovel. So I immediately get my heart going and start sweating and getting some exercise. And then tomorrow I'll be cutting wood all day. And then the next day I'll go on a walk, cutting trails and like pushing through the deep snow. So I get lots of exercise out here. My lifestyle in general is just healthier out here. So on top of the coronavirus going on, I also just have a much healthier lifestyle up here anyways. So I really need to just force myself to be up here. There's just no income up here. There's no way to make money. So it's kind of hard, you got to figure out ways to make money. So, and there's not always ways to make money up here. Down there, I can always find some work here and there. And I have guys who I've worked with over the years who will have stuff for me to do every once in a while. So I can have money coming in down there. But up here, there's no population. There's nothing around. There's no business because there's no one to have business with. I do business with, There's nobody up here. I mean, it's dead silent. Alright, so I'm going to finish shoveling this out, and then maybe we'll talk back in the cabin before it gets too dark. Alright, I'm getting settled in here in the cabin, and I'm pretty psyched. I didn't get a chance to seal these because I hadn't bought a straightener, but we're running the straightener off of the battery pack. That battery pack hasn't been holding a charge for a long time, but it's still working fine. I just can't let it sit for like more than a couple weeks or it drains itself for some reason. It's not supposed to do that, but it's working for this. That hair straightener is really hot, and I'm just sealing up some bags. 55-gallon buckets, which can hold 36 pounds of rice. So put a couple of these away. I'd say if you were rationing it to 500 calories a day, I think this is enough for one person for 1 year. So it's about 60 something pounds of rice. It may be closer to a year's worth of rice for 2 people. I'm not really sure. I'd have to go look and see what the calculation is, but yeah, if you were rationing it, this kit should at least last you a year. So that's pretty cheap. I think it was like, I don't know, less than $60 for that. So, and then $3 for each of the buckets, and then $2 from the Mylar bags, which I got from CanadianPreparedness.com, which is a Canadian preppers site. So I'm just sealing these up, getting all the air out of them. I put some CO2 packs in there and a couple bags of salt. So you have some salt with the rice, so it's not just plain rice. And I'm glad the battery pack is still working because it was worrying me because I was charging it. I kept it charged all winter when I wasn't using it, but it would die after only like 2 weeks of sitting in the bag, which it's supposed to stay like charged for 3 months. Excuse me. So I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, I shouldn't waste any more battery. I gotta get to sealing this back all up. I just wanted to check in with you guys. Well, gotta just put the 6 months worth of oatmeal away. Put it in a Mylar bag. Throw some beans in there. But I'm gonna keep that one unsealed because I'll be eating that oatmeal, and once I get low, I'll just have a couple more boxes either delivered or I'll go and get them. Everything's getting pretty cleaned up. I don't know if I mentioned actually how to get the stove going, but tomorrow is supposed to snow. It's gonna be the first big snowstorm out here. I'm excited. Looking forward to it. I think I've only been here when it's like been a couple flurries, but this will be like, should be like the last couple winter storms here before spring, which can have a lot of snow. So I'm excited. See how that goes. But it's going to be dark in a minute here, so I'm going to be calling it a night. I'm just getting everything sorted out and put in its places. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but it just started snowing. It's 9 o'clock on the 27th of February. It's going to be a big snowstorm, I guess. I didn't really check the weather. I knew it was going to snow, but the neighbor says it's going to be like whiteout conditions in another couple hours. So I got to go and put a little bit more wood in the cabin so I have enough wood to get through until the snow stops tomorrow. But it's going to be like a foot of snow, so it's going to be pretty hard getting some trees cut down, which is what I came up here to do. But we'll find other stuff to do, and we'll spend a lot of time shoveling probably the next couple days. But I'm going to go collect some wood before this gets really bad. Look at it. Some big snowflakes coming. Look at that roadway. What a beautiful cabin. I love it. Alright, nice and warm in here. That should be enough firewood. Got all chopped up. There's some punky pieces, but that's kind of good at night because it gets too hot in here. So if I put one good piece on and one punky piece on, it will burn a little bit slower. So got that all set up. Stove is going. That wood pile out there getting kind of small. Gonna have to cut wood this week, but if I get a foot of snow right now, it's gonna be pretty hard. I might have to order some snowshoes. I was looking at them this week and I figured I might need some, but if we're gonna get another foot of snow, I'm definitely gonna need some. You see that snow out there? Man, on the camera it doesn't look like it's snowing that hard, but it is snowing. Not quite whiteout conditions yet, but it is snowing pretty good. So let's keep this camp warm. Should be good. Some seriously big snowflakes out there. Looking crazy out there. It was sleet for a little while. Now it's back to just snowing big giant flakes. Just hanging out in the cabin, enjoying the warmth of the stove. Not much going on here. Snowing out there, pretty good though. Cook some hamburger on the stove and some rice. That's about all I'm gonna be up to today. Oh, see the sun shining out there. But I had to jack up the corner of the camp again because the door wasn't shutting. Now it's pretty much even. Latching real good now. Had to use the floor jack here that I keep in my car and just put a thicker board. That was the board that was under it before when we first jacked it up, which is pretty thin. And now I had to go to a 2x4 or a 2x6 is what I put under there. So that's about an inch, yeah, more than an inch bigger than this, thicker than that. So now the door shuts fine. Man, look at all the snow. Snowed, definitely snowed last night, real good. All day yesterday and last night. But it's February 28th, and I'm looking at the news, and things are just getting worse and worse. The wind's blowing, so let's go inside. Whoa, the wind's really blowing out there. Like I was saying, things are just getting worse and worse on the news, and it sounds like there might be community transmission on the coronavirus here in the United States, which basically means it's spreading from person to person and won't be controlled. Before, just a couple days ago, the only people who had it in this country were people who were quarantined from other countries. So, yeah, if there's community transmission in just random communities right now, then we're screwed. So, basically, I have most of my supplies, and my mom's going to come up with a couple more buckets full of dry goods and all the stuff that I've been prepping, because I've been prepping for years. So I bought a bunch of stuff this last week, but I also have all my preps from just over the years that I've been saving. So we're probably going to get all those up here at camp, and if it gets so bad that everybody's getting it in town, then my family will come up here and we'll have to set up the canvas tent and just make some room for people to stay, because my family kind of lives in a populated area, and right at the foot of our road is the elementary school. So yeah, it's going to spread fast in that area. So I don't know, I guess we're just going to try to hang out here, and maybe it won't get so bad that my family feels like they want to come up here, but once somebody gets sick, I'm not going to let people come up here, you know. And if people come from an area where there are a lot of like people sick, then I might make whoever comes up here quarantine themselves, which means they'll use a different crapper hole out in the woods than I will use, and they would stay in the canvas tent and not come down here to the cabin at all for the first 14 days. And then once 14 days went by, if they still weren't showing any symptoms, then I'd probably clear them and say they were okay to come down to camp. So we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't get that bad, but I'm already up here. I don't have any work right now. Anyways, I'm out of work, and I basically wasn't planning on working during the summer anyways, because we're going to do the gardening again. And last year I did pretty good. I mean, I lived off of like, I don't know, probably only $100 a month, and $50 of that, about $150, and about $100 of that is my phone and car insurance. So it was only costing me about $50 in meat and butter to be out here during the summer once the vegetables are coming off of the garden. And this year I'm going to do a much bigger garden. But basically I'm putting myself in prepper mode, full prepper. They say never go full prepper, but I think I'm going full prepper now. When I go to the store, I'm going to buy like an extra $100 worth of flour and rice and pasta and dry goods every time I go. And every time I go to the store, I'll disinfect everything on me, and I'll wear a mask, and I'll go in, do my shopping, and then put everything in trash bags at the car, and then bring that in, and then take off the gloves and take off the mask, and then disinfect everything as well as I can. And then when I get back, all of the food and stuff that I got, I'll either dip into some bleach water, like all the meat packaging, I'll probably dip into some bleach water just to make sure it's all sterilized, put that in the cooler, and then any packaging that I don't want to dip into the bleach water, I'll just leave in a black trash bag in the sun for, a week or two, maybe a week. Not like directly in the sun, but where the virus can die over a week's time without me dealing with it. Stuff like that. That might be a little over the top, but I'm going to be going over the top. And if it gets so bad in the area where everybody is starting to get infected, then I'll just stop going to town altogether and just live off of the rations that I have. And I have enough rice and pasta and dry goods to go probably a year, and if I was rationing, probably 2 years. So Covid-19, it's 2020. So, and I'm 35 this year. I'm glad I bought this camp last year and got it all set up, because it seems like this is exactly where I'm going to want to be this year. Gardening and staying away from everybody else. Got a tortilla on. Gonna eat some food real quick and then get this silky saw that we have out that we got from the Canadian Prepper, and go and see how well it cuts through some green trees. That's this silky katana boy, $6.50, got from Canadian Prepper. Just cut through that like nothing. This is a dead elm tree. Most of the elms on my property are dead and dry, and they burn really hot. Out of breath a little bit, but I got to just knock that with the axe and it will be free, and then I'll pull it through this crotch here and cut it into stove-sized pieces. But that saw breezed through that, so I think that's about the perfect size for this saw. I'm gonna try to cut this down eventually with it, this big tree. But I think for speed and for efficiency, that size, which is probably like 6 inches around, is probably about perfect. And I would say it's almost as quick as a chainsaw. I mean, if you have a really sharp chainsaw, that'll probably be about half the time, but definitely a lot less effort. But I mean, I don't know, you can probably cut almost as much firewood in close to as much time with this if you are doing 6-inch trees. But either way, I gotta add wood to the fire, so I'm not using that wood pile. Try to keep that wood pile as long as we can. So I'm just gonna be out here cutting every day. Nice and cozy in here. I guess I should put that water on. I have some coffee I could probably get into. I haven't had a cup of coffee in a couple months. Look at all that wood. That katana boy cuts through logs that big really nice. I've seen guys cut through much bigger stuff, so I'm gonna test it out later. But I'm still kind of shoveling out the trail down to the wood lot. Once that's all cleared up, I'll go down there and cut a couple green trees, a couple green maples, and cut those into 4-foot lengths and start stacking those for next year. I want to get as much firewood down as I can before the leaves come on the trees this year. But that's like 3-4 days worth of wood right there, and that was 2 dead standing that weren't that big. I left that big one still standing that was next to him because it's pretty freaking big, and if I don't fell it just right, it might land in the road a little bit. And I probably should have my chainsaw here so I can just cut it up real quick and get it out of the road. So I'm going to wait until the chansaw's here to cut that one down. But every day we'll go out and keep looking for some good dry standing wood, and we'll cut it up with that katana boy. And we shouldn't have to touch that wood stack very much. Every 3 days, if I can get this much wood, then we won't be touching that wood stack, and should have plenty of wood for the rest of the season. I still got a couple hours of daylight, so just eating another bite to eat real quick and then go wander around out there. Might go up to the platform. It's the only place I get the platform for the canvas tent. It's the only place I get internet access that works like even halfway decent, so I'll probably go up there and check my email and do a couple things online, and then it'll be getting dark. Eat some supper. Simple life out in the woods. Spend most of your winter just cutting firewood. Wow, we got a good lot of firewood right now. That's a good tree, and that's the elm. That stuff burns so hot that you can only burn 1 stick at a time, or you'll just get way too hot in here and blast it out of here. Alright, well, I'm going to snack a little bit and then get back out to doing something. Listening to Charles Dickens' Great Expectation. Great Expectations. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I never saw the movie that came out not too long ago, so I'll listen to the book first, and maybe I'll see the movie afterwards, and so I can compare them. Oh, nice, the flash came on. Got a bunch of lights set up and got a candle going. But it is almost dinner time, like 6 o'clock tonight. Eating dinner kind of late. I've been trying to get this together. So I have all the, about 2.5 gallons of water warmed up, which we made from melted snow over the last 2 days. And I filtered it through a t-shirt just to make sure there's no like pieces of wood and stuff. You know, the snow always has stuff that's blown off of the trees in it. And then we got the little ghetto shower with the hula hoop, shower curtain, and then a rubber bucket. And it's about I don't know, 3 or 4 degrees out there right now. So it's pretty cold outside, way too cold to do this on the porch. So got the little ghetto bucket shower out. And I have like I have this thing which you just stick this thing in the water bucket, but this thing blows through water way too fast. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna slow that water down in that thing, because it'll go through this in like only a couple minutes. So what I'm actually gonna do is just use the water bottle with a top. I'll be able to fill this twice, so I'll get myself all wet, then I'll soak myself up and then rinse myself off. But this will be the shower up at camp. And since the coronavirus is going crazy, I was planning on not being up here until April. But I guess I'm going to be here for March, April, and then the rest of the summer. So we're all set up. I think this is the first time I've used this shower rig in the cabin. We usually use this in the canvas tent. So hopefully I can keep the floor dry in here. Been up here for about a week now. I don't know if you can see that, but it's snowing balls out there again. It gets so crazy. But I think it's only going to be a couple inches. Got some hamburger for some tacos on the stove. Got some pot of rice going. And got some snow melting so we can keep some good water at camp. Been up for about a week. I basically just spend most of my time cutting wood. Well, I cut wood for about an hour every day with the katana boy. He has the chainsaw is broken right now. So I'm just trying to keep enough wood in here for a couple days every day I go out, and I try to cut 2 days worth of wood. It takes me about an hour. Maybe 2 hours. And then I bring that back. And just trying to stay on top of that so I'm not touching that wood pile, so I can make sure I have backup wood just in case something happens. I have about a month's worth of wood out there right now with the temperatures we have. Coronavirus is still going crazy. It's just starting to break out here in the US, and China kind of looks like they might have control of it, but they had people on lockdown for almost a month. So like 700 million people on basically martial law lockdown. So I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't get that bad here, but I'm up at camp and I have pretty much all the supplies I need. Maybe every 2 weeks go down to town real quick and just get some more meat and stuff for camp. But if it gets really bad, I have enough rice and pasta and everything. I can just stay up here. I probably have enough food for a whole year if I need to. And I have a rifle up here, so I'll start shooting some deer if it gets to that point. But hopefully I'm just being paranoid. Another about 4 to 6 weeks and we should start gardening, which is what I'm really looking forward to. So just hanging out, keeping the stove warm, keeping the cabin warm, enjoying the snow and getting some time out in the woods every day. Sure is beautiful out here though. Doesn't feel like apocalypse. Look at this thing. Can you see smoke coming out the chimney? Just barely. Whew. I don't know how much it's gonna snow tonight. I guess I should get on the web and see. Hopefully it's not a couple feet. That would suck. But I don't think it's gonna be. It's gonna snow a lot this week though. It's March 2nd or March 3rd today. March 3rd, I think. Yeah, it's gonna snow a couple times this week. Just gotta stay on top of this wood. Cutting wood. Every other day, I cut dry wood mostly just so I can burn it now, but every other day I get a load of green wood too and put it over there. So I can cut that up later in the year. Gotta cut all this, buck all this down. And that plus the wood I have in here should be good for 2 days. Good snow for tracks. Those are my tracks before the snow happened. But right here, fresh tracks. Bunny going in and out. It's funny, during the summer, I see these bunnies everywhere. Everywhere, you know? And then as it gets closer to fall, they start to disappear. And then during winter, you don't see them at all. You see their tracks everywhere, but you don't see them at all. I guess they're pure white at this point, so maybe it's just harder to see them, but I've been looking for them. I haven't seen a single one, but I know they're all around. Hauling the sled out to that dry, dead tree. I'm going to take some more off of it. Pull that big branch down with a rope. Hopefully I don't hurt myself. Should have brought a tripod. Famous last words. Alright, so I got a rope around this tree. That thing's pretty dead. I mean, this little piece that looks like it might still be alive, but I can't imagine it's dead all around. So I'm going to pull on this and see what happens. I'll bring you guys back. Sorry, I didn't bring a tripod out. Well, it's down. Had to do a lot of reaching and cutting and cut some of that away before it would break away. Almost got the saw pinched at the last moment there. But she's down now. So I'm chopping up into usable pieces. There is a little bit of green wood running along the side that has the bark on it. But that's good for burning at night. It'll burn kind of slow. And then when I wake up in the middle of the night, it'll usually still be going enough. Just add a little firewood. I'm going to cut this all up. Oh no, they're so fast. It's over there. But I have 3 or 4 red squirrels. And they're crazy little bastards. And maybe they're mating or something, but they're going crazy right now. And they're like, sounds like they're humping right under the cabin. But they're chasing each other in circles. But I put 3 almonds on that stump over there, hoping that they would eat it. But one of them just went and smelt the things and decided they didn't like them. They are wasabi almonds. They have some wasabi on them, so they're a little spicy. That's all I had. It's the only nuts I had. Actually, I think I have one with chocolate. Maybe I'll put some of that out. They might like that better. The wasabi might be too spicy for them. But I'm trying to figure out where they are. I can hear them under the cabin. Oh, there. Oh yeah, they're humping. They're literally doing it right now. As long as they don't have the baby squirrels. Oh man, they hid behind the tree. They knew we were watching. They just run around while they're doing it. It's crazy. The male must be the smaller ones. The males are a little bit grayer, not quite as red, and they're quite a bit smaller. Oh, I guess they're done. Crazy little squirrels doing it in the woods. Oh, I had a crappy couple days. Mail person delivered another greenhouse. You're gonna need that. You have to grow a lot of vegetables this summer so you don't have to leave camp because of coronavirus. Well, it's been a couple crappy days. I ran through all my battery power and all my power. This is the only thing that has power left. And this is only a 5,000 milliamp. Pretty small. I can only charge my phone twice on this. But that thing I can charge my phone like 50 times on. So it's at 20%. So hopefully by the end of the day we can get it all charged up completely. Or at least by the end of tomorrow, have it completely charged. And that'll be enough power to run my phone for the whole week. And that includes listening to audiobooks at night and, you know, going on the internet when I can go up to the platform and stand there for a couple hours. Sit on the internet and watch news and stuff. I use my phone a lot. I usually charge it twice a day. So that thing will keep it charged for more than a week once it's full. Solar panels are in the sun. Got a beautiful day here. Nothing but blue skies. Pretty good day. I gotta go and bring the new greenhouse and put it in the shed up by the other greenhouse. And got plenty of water at camp right now. And after I drop that off in the shed, I guess I'll go and spend a couple hours in the woods collecting firewood. Still got quite a bit of firewood left from the last time I went collecting. But I have some dry stuff laying out in the wood that just need to be cut up a little and restock all the firewood. And it's actually been pretty warm at night. I mean, it was below freezing last night, but it's not like really, really cold. Like, the only time I wake up and I'm cold in my sleeping bag is when it's like, -5 or 0 or below, basically. And then I have to stock the stove a couple times a night. But right now, I'm basically at a point where if I put one wet log in and a couple dry logs, in the middle of the night, I only have to go put one more wet log and one more dry log in at like 2 or 3 in the morning. And then the cabin stays plenty warm enough, even too warm. I didn't even use a blanket last night because it was so warm in there. But daytime temperatures are getting up above freezing now, so we're getting to that point. It's May 5th today, and the coronavirus is spreading bad. Iran is like getting it really hard right now. Doesn't sound like they contained it at all. The US and UK and Canada is still doing a pretty good job at containing it, but it sounds like everywhere else is not able to do it. So ordering a Berkey water system this week. So I'm gonna have that come up here, and then we can turn the snow into drinking water, because I've been buying my drinking water the last couple years and just buying Poland Spring bottled water by the gallon. But that cost me about $35 a month, and if I buy a Berkey water system for $250, I don't know what the math is on that, but that's probably like 8 to 10 months it'll be paid off. And then I'll just keep a couple extra filters on hand all the time, and I should be able to turn. I have plenty of water up here. All winter I have tons of snow up here that I can boil and then filter and then put in the Berkey. And then during the summer I have all the water. I have the brook, I have all kinds of water everywhere. So I can just collect water from those places, and then I'll filter it through a t-shirt in a pot, and then I'll boil it in that pot, and then I'll put it in the Berkey water system, and that'll keep those filters in that Berkey water system in better shape a lot longer, doing that pre-filter through a t-shirt. And then I'm going to just boil it all the time just to make sure, like, the Berkey is supposed to take out 99.99% of all that stuff that's bad. But I think it's easier if I just boil it first, then I know everything's dead. I'm not going to get any parasites or get sick from anything, no viruses or anything. Everything will be dead in the water. And then put it through the filtration system to get any chemicals or any particulates or small organic matter out. Yeah, this is a great place to be during a virus outbreak like the coronavirus. It's nice having a camp out here in the middle of nowhere. I bought this last year, and man, talk about perfect timing. Solar panel I'll put away. Got that battery pack at about 50%. Took 4% of that 50% to charge this thing up. This is my Milwaukee headlamp, rechargeable headlamp. And it is kind of big. So I wear it on my hat, actually, because it's made for a hard hat. But my neighbor Joe sent this to me for Christmas. And man, this thing is so awesome. I've been out here for a whole week. I use it every night for about 3 hours every night. 2 or 3 hours off and on. And it lasted a whole week, and it was only yellow, which it goes from green to yellow to red. This is only yellow, so it's only about 50% dead. And then just took 4% to charge it up. I still have plenty of battery for my phone, and this should be good for another week. That solar panel has definitely been big enough. It's 100 watt, that 100 watt Rock Pal. And it's big enough. I've kept everything charged. All summer I kept my power tools charged while we were building things, and I'm able to keep everything charged with those two things. I can even keep my laptop charged all the time if I really make sure to put this out every time the sun is out. But I kept my laptop charged enough to at least do all my YouTube stuff last year with that, and I was probably only setting that out in the sun every 2 or 3 days. So I'm pretty psyched. The power situation is taken care of, and I'm gonna have one of these Berkey water filters sent out. We should be all set on water and power. Making our own. Off grid, baby. Well, March 8th. Been out here for, I don't know, 9 days now. Getting close to the time of year when we start planting. I took another shower today in here. And it is better than going outside, that's for sure. But I'm telling you, that hula hoop's just barely wide enough for a person my size. And I'm telling you, I really would like, I need to put a shower stall inside either inside one of the sheds, that was my original plan. Or I could probably put one in the corner right there, with a drain hole with gray water that goes outside. If we just shower in it, we can just dump the gray water in the yard. It won't really affect anything. But that's like right by the stove and right by where I sit, so it'll be pretty ugly if I put it there. But if I did have one there, where the barrel, I put a barrel up there that you put water in, and then you just have to turn it on and it will gravity feed out onto you. Because the two things that sucks about this shower setup is that the plastic, once you're wet, this plastic wants to come in and touch you. And I hate that when that plastic is touching me. It drives me crazy. Plus, right now, we're still using a bottle. Or sometimes we'll use that shower head that I have up there, but that thing just goes through way too much water. A 5-gallon bucket pretty much will go through that in like 2 or 3 minutes, which really isn't enough time for me. And the button isn't on the wand, so to turn it on and off, you have to pull the pump out of the water and everything. It's kind of a pain. So right now I just fill a bottle twice, rinse myself, soap up, and then rinse it off. So that's okay, but when you have to have one hand on a bottle and one hand on the soap, it's pretty hard doing that. Shower is much more enjoyable when it's hands-free and you've got both your hands free to scrub with. So this has been working out for now, and it worked out really good in the canvas tent when we were trying to get away from the bugs during the mosquito season. But the plan is I gotta put a shower basin in that's gravity fed so it can be hands-free. You just add hot water to the top of it and then flip a switch and it will start running. And preferably something that the plastic doesn't touch me. I mean, I really just want a corner shower, but I don't think I want to put it in the cabin. So I need to build a shed outside, out back of this thing, that I can store stuff in and have a shower set up in, and maybe a little stove so on days I take a shower I can heat up the shed. But I don't know. Well, beginning of spring. We got like 10 more days, I think, until the first day of spring, I think March 22nd, right? Or is it April 22nd? I don't know, I'll have to check that. But we're getting really close. We're about a month away from planting. We'll start everything in trays in here and then move them to the greenhouse. I don't have any light in here, so we're going to start the trays right by the window about 2 weeks before it's time to go in the greenhouse. We'll start them in here by the window, and they'll all be popping up. And then once they pop up, we'll bring them out and put them in the greenhouse, and the greenhouse should be warm enough that they should be okay. Yeah, just staying showered, trying to keep my hygiene up while I'm out here. It's going to be a long summer. Started a couple months early, too, because of this coronavirus thing, so I'm looking forward to getting to growing. Once I can start growing and working on the garden, I'll have a lot more to do. Right now, all I do is collect wood all day, and then when I'm done doing that, a couple other chores, and then listen to audiobooks and read the news and stuff. Oh, I gotta get dressed. It's nice to be clean, though. Taking a shower once every 4 days right now, and that seems to be a pretty good system, and I don't get too smelly. On nights that I get the cabin really hot with the stove, the next day I'll be all smelly and sweaty because the cabin gets so hot that when you're in here, you're sweating, and then your armpits start smelling. So, alright, I'm gonna get dressed. I had to make a
little spatula out of a piece of a bottle, water bottle. Got some pancakes on today. I wish I had some that flapjack mix, the cornmeal ones. I gotta get some of that next time I go into town. But that might not be for a while, so we're gonna just have pancakes every once in a while. And I don't have a spatula, so I'm gonna have to just keep this thing cleaned and maybe modify it. Maybe put it on a stick. If I put it on a stick, it might be even a little bit better. Pancakes today. Excited. This thing works so good. Bam! Nice. That thing worked awesome. Guess pretty much fine like this. Easy to clean this thing too. Just clean up the edges a little bit with my knife. Make it a little smoother. But I guess we don't need a spatula. That'll work just fine. These are gonna be great. I'm trying to think if I want to put honey or maple syrup on them, but I feel like I should save the maple syrup. I only have a small bottle of that, but I only have a little bit of honey too. I guess honey is probably more valuable than maple syrup, especially since I have maple trees here. So I guess maybe I'll use maple syrup. What the hell? Alright, I'm getting excited. It's March 8th. Oh, there goes a bunch of stuff falling on the bed. But I'm in here looking through my seeds, and I'm just getting really excited. These are the ones that made me really excited. They're 2 years old too. In this company, you usually want to use them pretty quick. But these are heirlooms, so they should probably be good for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. So this should still be good. I'm going to pop them this year. All of them except for I'll save like 3 just in case I decide I really need to try to archive some of these seeds. But this is like an Amish pie pumpkin. So this is like a sweet pumpkin. So this isn't like for carving. This pumpkin is for making pies out of. So I'm pretty excited. I've never grown pumpkins like that. So this year I'm going to try one of my small patches. Will be just this kind of pumpkin. And hopefully we'll harvest them and eat them. You can eat it like squash too, I guess, if you want to. It's pretty sweet, but I don't think it tastes that good. It's not really like good like that. But this is the pumpkins that you make pumpkin pie out of. Amish pie pumpkin. I'm super excited. I get in the sweet corn. We're going to do the rest of this pack of sweet corn, I guess. Or, yeah, probably the rest of this. So we can do another row of corn and do some of these really hard big carrots. These big ones are good, especially if you're going to juice them or anything. So I'm going to do a big row of those somewhere. And then of course the butternut squash, which is one of my favorite. This is another kind of butternut squash. And these are the cucumbers we did last year. Since they grew so well up here, I guess we'll try those again and do the rest of those. More sweet basil. And actually, I don't know if that is the sweet one. That's not the one I want. Gotta look back in it. Got some spinach and some Brussels sprouts. Just the Brussels sprouts didn't do anything up here last year. But this is a different, this isn't the same pack, so I'm just going to try these ones this year and maybe start them indoors a couple weeks early. Maybe we can get these to come up and produce some Brussels sprouts. I've tried Brussels sprouts a lot, but I've never actually had any of them produce Brussels sprouts ever. So we're going to try those again. But got lots of seeds, so just gone through here trying to figure out what we're going to do this year. I just got all the dishes cleaned up. I usually just stack all the pans right there, but I have a set of cast irons that are still down at the house, down at my family's house. And I don't know, I was thinking I could hang hooks right here. Hang hooks down the wall to hang them. But then they might get grease and stuff on the wall, so I don't know. I could maybe put drill holes and put hooks on the black back there
That's probably a pretty good place for it. And then if it gets grease on that, it won't matter. It'll wipe off pretty easily. But I don't know. Just finished cleaning dishes, taking care of all my morning chores. It's March 13th today. And it's actually not snowing right now. You can see it's dripping out there. But it was snowing this morning. And it's about, I don't know, probably like 35 degrees, something like that. March 13th, and yesterday or the day before, I think on March 11th or on March 12th, I don't know, one of those days, the World Health Organization and CDC said that corona is confirmed, positive, definitely a pandemic now. So that's pretty crazy. We're in the middle of a pandemic. It's actually weird. After being out here for a couple weeks and you're out here all by yourself for a long time, it's like sometimes you'll have days that are kind of bum days and you're not like really sure what you want to do or anything. So, and then you'll start thinking about all the land you have and all the stuff you have to do. As soon as it stops raining or snowing, there's all kinds of things to do. So you get excited about that. But now that there's this virus out there, I don't just think about, well, like being here is like a blessing. Like being out here by myself is like, I want my family to come up here. They're still all doing school and work and all this stuff. But if the virus gets bad enough down there, they'll come up here and they'll quarantine up here for 14 days. And then we'll all just stay out here for the summer together. By my family, I mean my mother, my dad. They're separated, live in separate places. And then I have 3 sisters and a little brother. And 2 of the 3 sisters have 3 children each. So I'm an uncle to 6 times. Yeah, 6 times an uncle. So that's what I mean by family. It's the main reason why I got this place, is so I had a place that I could be all the time when I'm not out working and like traveling for work. Before, I used to just always stay at my mom's house or stay at my sister's house or just stay at a family member's house. And then when I went to work out in California, I would live there at the property where I was working most of the time. So that's what I was doing, but I wanted a place that I could do my own thing. So got this place, and then hopefully as I'm doing my own thing, I'm going to set this place up so it's like all dialed in for people to be able to retreat to if something bad's happening in the city, or like it's just like having a survival prepper camp, ready for people. And I want it to be ready enough that hopefully even once I die, that my nieces or nephews, or maybe by then I'll have my own kids. I don't know, I'm 35 and I'm still not really sure I want kids, but I might change my mind the next 5 or 10 years once I get settled down here and find a good woman. Maybe I'll decide that I do want kids. I don't know. A good woman can make you change your mind on that, I think. So I just haven't found one of those yet. I've found a couple of them actually, but let them slip through my fingers. Anyways, yeah, it's weird out here, and it's interesting that this thing's just going to shit. And this is my first year. I just bought this property and got this all set up, and there's a pandemic already. So like, obviously preparing wasn't a bad idea, because only a year into it and I'm already using all of my preps and like getting to the point where we have to lock down for weeks at a time, maybe months at a time, if they really want to get this virus killed and keep it from spreading. At some point, everybody might have to do a month-long lockdown to completely stop the circulation of the virus. It's the only way we'll get ahead of it, because it's contagious. Almost everybody infects 2 to 3 other people. I think it's a 2.7 R0 or whatever they call it. So it's like almost 3 people each person infects, and those 3 people infect 3 people, and then those 9 people infect, however many people. It's like exponential. So yeah, it's crazy. first year out here, and I'm glad we got it. We got everything set up. We have everything stored for growing vegetables, so if food isn't available in the city, between my preps and all the seeds I have, I should be able to produce way more food than my family will ever eat. I'll probably be even giving food to all the neighbors, you know? There's going to be a lot of food. I have lots of seeds and lots of land now, so... And I bought lots of fertilizer too, organic and non-organic, because the non-organic, a 50 gallon drum of non-organic stuff is enough to grow fields worth of food. So, you know, I usually don't use that stuff, but if you have it and something happens, you can grow for like years before you run out of fertilizer, at least for family size growing, you know. But yeah, those are the things I'm thinking about today, but I got to finish my chores.
And charge them with developing a high-throughput
Got the emergency
quality
radio
platform
out.
that can meet the needs of the American public.
Listen to the news.
We are
Internet's
grateful
not
to
working
LabCorp
very well because
Quest
it's
for
raining.
taking up the charge immediately after the meeting, and within 72 hours,
Crazy
bringing
what's going
additional
on here.
testing access, particularly to the outbreak areas of Washington State and California, and now across the country. We are also very grateful to the universities and large hospital systems that took up the charge to develop their own quality tests, made available by new FDA guidance. This has resulted in expanded testing across New York, California, Washington, Colorado.
Rain's
And you
coming
see
down
some
real
tests
hard
and
out there.
options that have been made available through these high-throughput options.
Getting dark
Following
out
the
there.
meeting last week, major commercial laboratory equipment and diagnostic companies took immediate action to adopt and develop new testing systems. Last night, the initial company, Roche, received FDA
March 13th,
approval, moving from request
2020.
to development to approval.
Well, March 14th, 1-pan shepherd's pie. Cook the beef and then add the corn, cook that, and then wedge something under the pan that's metal to keep it high, and then put milk in this area, make your potatoes, and there you go. Little butter on top. But it's been so windy. When it's windy, the service on my phone does not work at all down here at the cabin when it's windy. It's crazy, like, harder the wind is, worse the service will be. Well, it doesn't look that crazy right now, but it's been really crazy, like, I don't know, gotta be 50-mile-per-hour gusts right now. Some of these gusts are like about to break these big trees. It's crazy out there. Gotta love solar. Sun is still pretty high, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but I put this thing on the solar power at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and this thing is at 95%, and the battery pack was at 0 this morning, and I had no power to charge anything, so I'm pretty psyched. Solar power is working out pretty good. Corona is still going crazy. Still going crazy. Over 3,000 cases in the US, and they're starting to shut everything down, trying to contain it. Nothing's changed up here though. As long as the sun's out a couple times a week, we got power and plenty of snow to melt for water. And I got enough food probably for the next 6 months if I needed to, so. And I got a gun up here, so if I need to shoot a deer or something, I'd have plenty of food. Just been cutting wood, stripping some trees,
for firewood for next year and clearing some of the yard to maybe keep the bugs down here. The bugs are usually really bad at the end of spring and all summer down here by the cabin because it's so thick. The wind doesn't really blow them around. So I'm just cutting down all those sticks, processing them so I can cut them up into firewood, and then putting all the branches in that wood pile, and gonna have a bonfire with that in a couple weeks here. Other than that, just staying out here in the woods, staying away from this virus. I've been out here for like 3 weeks now, so things are going. I don't know. I only have this 1-bedroom cabin, but I'm not sure if it's getting bad enough that I should try to see if my family wants to come up here. They all are still doing stuff. I mean, they canceled school because of spring break, so they canceled school for spring break a week early, and they're just going to go through the whole break and try to keep them out of school. But I just don't have enough space for 5 or 6 people to come stay up here. This cabin's so small, and we could try to pull a camper or something up here, but a lot of ice and snow I got to get rid of for us to be able to do that. I'm going to put the stuff away. I got to get something to eat. Alright, it's March 15th. I'm listening to NPR. Listen to my emergency radio. I actually listened to this thing a lot. That was a good investment, $24. It has FM, AM, shortwave, and weather band. So that's pretty sweet. But it is March 15th, 2020. The sun's going down outside at the cabin. I've been up here for 3 weeks trying to stay away from the virus. I have gone to town twice in that time because the spread hadn't really started here, and I just kept on buying more stuff so I could stay here. But today, like 3 days ago, the president just said that it's a state of emergency, and he was even tested because people he'd been hanging out with has test positive for the virus. And then they shut down all flights for anybody who's non-American in pretty much all the major countries, but Europe and Ireland and China and a bunch of big major countries, soon to be all of them. And they're trying to just stop all travel, and they close schools down in most places. They're starting to close schools down, but over the next couple weeks we'll probably see a lot of schools close down, which it is spring break right now, so a lot of people are going to be out of school anyway, so they're going to keep people out of school for 3 weeks. And the stock market has lost like, I don't know, about seven grand off of the 28, 29. It was almost 30,000 the Dow Jones, and it's down to like 7. It's down to like 21 right now, and it started at like 29. So that's a pretty big fall over the last 3 weeks. Gold did take off, but now it's kind of stalled out, and it was dropping a little bit, but it's probably going to keep going. But yeah, I'm just up here at camp, but I'm up here by myself. So pretty much all the young people who get this disease don't get that sick anyways. I have major lung problems, so I would probably get pretty sick with it. But most people out there won't get sick. It's just going to be the old people, and it looks like a lot of old people are dying. Like one old folks home got it, and it sounds like 20-something people died in the old folks home. Like half of the people in there have died. So yeah, for old people this is going to be really bad. But I'm trying to decide. I don't know. It's going to be months. Like, this could be like 6 months long. I'm still ordering stuff from Amazon, so I'm just going to have to go and get the packages with gloves on and open them up and then take them out of the package. And if I think it's something that I can spray down with bleach, maybe spray it with some disinfectant. I don't know what I'm going to do. But eventually I'll have to stop ordering from Amazon even. But I still have stuff I need for this summer. The last of it hasn't come. And I forgot to order maple syrup taps, and that's happening this week. All the trees are starting to they're getting to the point where they're starting to flow sap. And I forgot to get some spigots, so I'm gonna have those sent out this week. But I just won't talk to the mail people when they come. Just gonna have them leave the stuff at the end of the driveway, and then I'll go get it with gloves and then see how it goes and try to prepare everything in a way where I won't get sick from anything. So we'll see how that goes. See if I get sick out here, even in the sticks. Berkey water filter will be here tomorrow, and then we have to find some wild water on the property, boil it, filter it, and fill these bottles back up. That way I don't have to go to town for water anymore. I've been drinking bottled water for like my entire life. Be interesting. March 16th, listening to NPR, and man, it's sounding pretty grim on this station, that's for sure.
Is there any reason why we shouldn't have acted sooner here in the United States?
No. I mean, look, the data from China were clear. The data from Italy was clear.
They're calling for full shutdowns, which we haven't done yet. They haven't announced that yet, but Italy is totally fucked. Iran is totally fucked. Like, they're building mass graves and stuff to bury people. Crazy. But Italy got pretty fucked too, because they didn't shut everything down when they first saw it happen. And that's what they're saying America has to do. We're at like 3,000 cases here, but they're saying that we probably need to shut everything down for 4 weeks. Commercial time. But yeah, I just sitting in the cabin, clean dishes, boiled water today. I'm still waiting for a couple pieces of mail, which hopefully don't carry the infection, but I'm going to kind of quarantine the mail and spray it down with some disinfectant.
What are your questions for her? You can send an email to talk@mainepublic.org or call during the show 1-800-299-3567.
Yeah, taking callers. Yeah, so it's just crazy, but I'm just out here cutting wood and keeping things together out here, and I'm going to call family members this week and see if anybody's planning on coming up here in quarantine before we interact. I'll see you guys later. I got work to do. Well, I forgot to get some maple spikes. So I made this one. Can you see this? It's not gonna focus, of course. So I made some wooden ones. Wasn't sure if they were gonna work. But I just came out here. It was too cold earlier this morning, so the maple wasn't running. Should be running the next week. But that is a wooden spile that I made, and there's probably like, I don't know, half a gallon of sap in there. So there's the first one. I ordered some metal taps. Probably work a little bit better. But get some trees tapped and then replace the bucket of water on top of the wood stove with a bucket of maple sap, and cook that down over the next couple weeks, and hopefully we'll get at least something, either maple sugar or a little bit of maple syrup. Well, that thing's working pretty good. Ray Muirs, way back in the day, he made a video where he made one of these, a little tap out of wood. So I just did what he did, and it looks like pretty much all of the juice is going down it. So that's pretty cool. It's a bushcraft, some bushcrafting that I didn't think I was going to be using. So thanks, Ray. Some good info.
but I had to make a pretty big hole in the tree for that, so probably put one more out like this, and then we'll wait until we get the metal taps. I also don't have any covers for the buckets, so tomorrow it's gonna snow. Probably be too cold for it to be running anyways, but I need to find a piece of cardboard to put over this thing tomorrow when it snows. Alright, good afternoon. It's a beautiful sunny day out there. Kick the stand, sorry. I gathered a bunch of water, so the blue thing is full of water. The stove's not really going because I'm trying not to run it during the day when the sun's coming in. It gets warm in here, so I don't really need to run it. And I'm letting it die down at night too, so now that it's getting into spring, we gotta stop burning as much firewood, you know? Only burn it at night to heat the place up, and then let it go out at night, and then use your sleeping bag. But I got water, all the dishes are clean, and I got a couple buckets out there collecting maple syrup, though it's really windy, so I should probably go check on one of those. One of them's not tied down. Got my axe on my belt. I got the Scandinavian forest axe, which I haven't used much of that lately, so it'd be nice to get out there and use that. And then I got the Katana Boy 650 on my back, and I'm gonna head over to the woods here. I was gonna go cut some dry wood for firewood for the next couple days, but I have the solar panel on the sled keeping all the batteries and everything out of the snow and out of the wetness, and that's charging, so at about 3 the sun will get low enough where it's not really producing any power really, for the most part, maybe little bits but not a lot at all. And I'll unplug that, and then we'll go and find some dry firewood. So I'm gonna go, and I have a couple trees that are like blocking the light out for a bunch of spruce trees, which the spruce and the fir trees are the ones I'm trying to grow on the property, because you can harvest those sustainably. And the Maine woods used to be all spruce trees, but people cut them all down to sell them to the lumber companies and everything. So I'm trying to get rid of a lot of the deciduous trees on my property and build my lot back up into a carnivorous type forest here, and that's what's supposed to be here in Maine, and that'll attract more animals and stuff, and that's what it's supposed to be in Maine. I mean, there are animals that come and live in the cut, and they like that, you know, 15 to 30, 60 years that it takes for the carnivorous forest to come back up if they cut really hard. Some animals do like that kind of forest, but it's not good for the land. It's ruining Maine. Like, the ground should be moss and pine needles, not a thick layer of leaves, because leaves is what makes wetland and swamps and all kinds of stuff. Like, it's supposed to be, the forest is supposed to look different than it does here right now. So we're trying to get at least my property back to that look. And all the hardwoods. We'll leave enough that we get nice colors on the property and that we can still do maple syrup every year, but a lot of the land we want to go back to like carnivorous forest. So that's kind of what we're doing. So we're going to cut down a bunch of maple trees and clear the branches off of them and chop them up into like 4-foot sections and then stack them over there in the woods. And we're going to keep on doing that. All the maple trees that aren't going to be good for harvesting or are getting too old or really big and old, we're going to cut down. But right now we're just using the Katana Boy, so we're not going after huge trees. But we got to get the chainsaw back out and get it fixed, but I'm going to head out there. Well, this sucker came down in a breeze with that bad boy. Used the axe to clear most of the branches up, and it's kind of leaning on a bunch of trees over there. So I'm gonna make a cut right there, and that's all dead wood up there, so that's gonna be good firewood. So I guess I'm gonna get firewood at the same time as processing this greenwood down. So that's pretty cool. So I gotta make a couple cuts and just watch where this rolls. I was trying to save this tree right here, this fir, but once I make the cut on this tree, it's probably gonna roll over it. So hopefully it clears it without breaking it or killing it. See the buckets. Buckets are out there. Sky's turning gray, it's about to snow. But look at this. Can you see this? That golden stuff there? Stuff's pretty sweet. I'd say it's probably about a half a cup of maple sugar. Basically this morning when I got up, this was maple syrup. But I thought that it might have been still too watery, so I kind of fired up the stove and then kind of overheated it and got this a little too hot, which will make it into maple sugar. But this is the first maple sugar product that I've made, and it definitely tastes sweet, tastes good. It doesn't really have that caramelized maple taste that it should have, but I think that's because I just started with too little. This is about 1.5 gallons of sap boiled down. Probably only about a gallon of sap actually. It's probably what made this. But I'm making sugar and I'm making a lot more sap. The temperatures are starting to rise out there, so the sap is flowing a little bit better. So hopefully next time I can start with 3 gallons of sap and then have another 3 gallons of sap to the side, so once it's cooked down I can add 3 more gallons and we can cook 6 gallons down. If we cook 6 full gallons down and we don't overcook it, I should be able to fill one of these jars. So that's the goal, is try to fill at least one of these jars this spring. So we're making sugar, which is pretty sweet because sugar is something that's hard to get off the land usually, but since I have maple trees, I've got sugar. Still just waiting for the snow to melt. It is March 20th today, I think. Yeah, it's March 20th. Covid-19, the coronavirus, is just going crazy. They've shut down so many places. The U.S. is still handling it slowly. Testing's coming on board, but they haven't done a full national lockdown. San Francisco and L.A. and New York are locked down because they are trying to contain the spread there. But like where I'm at here in Maine, they haven't done a lockdown yet. So I don't know. In the next couple days, we're probably going to see a national lockdown, but it hasn't happened yet. So I'm just listening to NPR radio because the radio is the only source of news I have without trying to get stuff off the internet, which I'm still going on the internet and getting stuff, but it takes like 20-30 minutes sometimes to just to upload a single story because of how bad my internet. I have internet if the phone is like in certain places not being touched. I can push upload and it will upload a page, but sometimes it only takes like a minute and sometimes it takes like 5 to 20 minutes. So it can be kind of a pain in the ass. If I go and stand up on the canvas tent platform at the very peak of the property, the internet works a lot better and I can check the news, but it's, cold and crappy out there, so I don't usually want to stay out standing on that platform for more than an hour at a time. And check my email and go on YouTube real quick and check in with Dr. John Campbell because he's been pretty much the best guy at getting the news for this coronavirus thing. He's the best YouTube channel, I think. So yeah, just hanging out here. I have about 3 more days left of meat in the cooler. It's still cold enough out there that the cooler isn't melting at all, so if I just had more meat to put in it, I would be fine. I don't have to worry about getting ice from town. So I don't know, we'll see. It seems like the virus still hasn't really spread up here very much, so maybe I'll run to town tomorrow and get some more waters and get some meat.
or maybe I'll just decide to switch over to rice and pasta for a while and not go to town. And I have that Berkey water filter system, so I still gotta set that up and start boiling water and then filtering it, and then we won't have to buy water anymore. But I haven't gotten to that point yet. And the well that I was gonna get water from is still frozen over, so it's kind of hard to get water out of there. I can melt snow and filter that, which is probably what we're gonna have to start doing this week if we don't go get bottled water. Been up here for 3 weeks already. 3 weeks is a long time to not go to the store. So I would like to go to the store one more time before it gets really bad. But it's pretty bad out there already. Most of the country's already on lockdown, so I'm trying to just do my part and stay right up here at camp. All right. I don't know if you can see them. There's a pair of birds over there. I don't know what the heck they are. They're like the size of a blue jay. They have a little black on their face and a white chest and a white face and gray wings. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. Beautiful birds though. Well, I'm just clearing some land here still, trying to free up all these spruce trees, trying to get them all opened up. Take all the maple out of this section, make it into firewood, and hopefully we'll be able to start growing these spruce and fir trees back up. Because if you grow spruce and fir trees every like 15 to 20 years, you can, sell your biggest ones. All your oldest trees, you thin out and cut them out. This is going to be a nice flat spot. Oh, there it goes. Man, I don't know what kind of bird that is. They fly so cool. It looks just like a blue jay, but it's not. Looks like there's a bunch of them out here, actually. Pretty cool. Not freaked out by me at all. Yeah, I don't know what kind of bird that is. I've never seen one of those before. There's like 4 of them here now. I've been at a camp for like 3.5 weeks. COVID-19 virus is going crazy down in the city. I went to town yesterday, so, I guess over the next 10 days we'll see if I get sick. But nobody looks sick there, and I went in real quick and washed myself between each stop really well and didn't touch my face or anything. I didn't wear a mask. There was only one person. A lot of people were out still, and there was only one guy with a mask on, and he had camo on and looked like that crazy hermit that just came out of the woods. So he was the only one wearing a mask. I was gonna wear a mask. I brought it to town with me, but when I saw nobody else wearing them, I didn't wear it, which is stupid. I should have worn it because I saw nobody wearing it. But it's not like China where everybody's used to it. It's like socially accepted. Like here, it's kind of weird if you're wearing a mask. But if I go back to town after this point, I'm going to wear a mask. The next 2 weeks is supposed to get pretty bad, and they've locked all of California down. But life doesn't change very much out here at the plantation. We just cut wood and do all the stuff we would usually be doing at this time of year. The only thing is we're going to town a lot less, once every 2 weeks or once every 4 weeks, just to get meat in the cooler. And when we go to town, we have to take a lot of precautions. But I have nobody I can infect out here, so even if I get sick, I'm just stuck out here. But if you get sick and you have to go to the hospital, then you put other people at risk. So I really just need to be out here for the most part. Beautiful day to be in the woods. It's about 40 degrees and sun shining. This is going to be a beautiful piece of land. It's all really thick, and I cleared a lot. It was really thick. It all looked like that. See how thick that is right there? That's what it all looked like here, but I just cleared this whole spot out. And once we get these maple trees processed down into good firewood for next fall, Probably cut that one maple tree down. We'll leave this cluster of them. That's a really nice tree, but that's a lot of firewood. That's probably a pretty good tree for getting sap out of, but it's really blocking up all these maples, so all these maples don't get the south-facing sun. I mean all the spruce trees. So I'm trying to grow these spruce. I've got like 40 acres of maples, so I don't really need them up here. I just need to turn all this into firewood. So just working out at the 100-acre plantation, avoiding the virus. Well, morning of day 23, which this was going to be season 4. This was going to be season 4 of the 100-acre plantation. I've been filming all the trips out here during winter. I was going to compile them, but I'll still put out the winter videos from earlier this winter, but I really didn't do anything. Just sat in the cabin and then went out in the woods and cut wood every single day. That's pretty much all I do during the winter up here. There's not much going on, you know, and I read and listen to audiobooks and sometimes watch some stuff on the computer if I have enough juice coming off of the solar powers. Well, for the most part, winter is pretty isolated and solitary and not much going on. Pretty boring. But 23 days ago, I came up here because the coronavirus was just starting to get crazy, and I have made 2 trips to town in that time. One time I went down home, got some gold, brought it to my gold dealer and sold it, so I had a little extra cash just in case this thing drags on all summer. Ooh, excuse me. And then I went like 3 days ago and filled the whole cooler full of hamburger because it's still cold enough outside that I packed it with ice that first weekend I came up, and all 3 weeks it's been frozen. Not a single bit of ice is melted. It's cold enough out there. So I do want to keep the cooler full of meat while I still have the cold temperatures, because eventually it's going to get warm and I'll either have to go to town all the time for ice, or I'll just have to give up on that for the summer. Which, you know, sometimes we'll go to town, but if this coronavirus gets so bad, I'm really trying not to get it. I have pretty bad lung problems, and yeah, I'm trying not to get it because I'll probably be affected by it pretty badly. But day 23 out here, hiding from the coronavirus, and we're actually boiling water. We got to boil 2 pots of water today for laundry. So we'll fill those up with water at least halfway, and then we'll clean the shirts first, pants second, and then all of the socks last. You don't want to clean your shirt and pants laundry in your sock water. So that's what I'm doing today. I need 2 of these boiled up, and then I'll add enough cold water to it that it's just like warm. And then one bucket will be soapy water, 1 bucket will be for rinse. So that's the plan. That's what I got going on today. Be nice. I only got 2 pairs of socks left, so I definitely have to clean the 20 pairs of socks I have. And then I'll have another 20 days before I'll have to do laundry. Shower every 4 days, laundry every 21 days, about. Every 3 weeks. That's kind of how you do it when you're off grid. At least that's how I do it. Makes things a lot easier. I'm collecting lots of firewood, and I'm clearing another section of the lot, another piece of highland that just has all of these gray birch and alder bushes like going crazy. So I'm cutting those all down, and then later I'll have to even come in with a piece of machinery and pull the root up. Or I can just get a can and make a jet fire, make like a bonfire, a small one, inside of a metal can on top of the root, on top of the stump. You do that and burn a fire there one day, and then move to the next stump the next day, burn a fire on that one. Eventually all your stumps will be burnt down, and they won't shoot up all kinds of sprouts once they've been burned like that. So that's what we're doing, clearing land, making firewood, doing laundry, and we got the solar power out making power. Life is good. Lots of things to do when you're off grid. You may not be working a job, but you'll be working every day.
Well, got the socks in.
It's too cold to hang it out on the line outside. It's still below freezing, so it won't dry out there. So we got it hung up in the cabin, which is a real pain. Got the shade pulled here. There's some light so you can kind of see. But it's almost the end of the day, and I got dishes done, and laundry, and that's about it. Preparing the water, I'm trying to do this in warm water, and I already had to boil 4 of those pots today to get all this laundry done. Well, that's the 4th one, but once that's done, I'll have nice warm water to rinse the socks in, and then hopefully the underwear and these shirts right here will be all dry, and I can hang them. Off-grid living, that's how it goes. Pretty nice day out there though, but tomorrow's going to be cloudy and then it's going to snow, I guess, on Tuesday. It's Sunday today. So I'm not looking forward to more snow. I was kind of hoping the snow that we had was just going to melt away and that we were going to pretty much be done with snow for the year, but we probably have a couple of light snows still to go. It's March 22nd today. Tomorrow's my dad's birthday, actually. Turns 63. So yeah, that's why I worry about him. He lives in public housing, kind of in like, it's not all old folks. It used to be an old folks home, but now they kind of just have all the public housing people in the building. And he's 63 and he's pretty sick these days, so he's at really high risk for corona. So I am worried about him, but he just isn't healthy enough to live here off grid. It's too much going out to the outhouse and doing all that stuff. He has to have plumbing. So he's still back home, but I'm hoping that he can stay clear of the virus because he's at a really high risk. He has Crohn's disease and he takes medicine that actually suppresses his immune system. So yeah, hopefully he doesn't get it. Something I'm worried about. But yeah, I'm just here getting the laundry clean. Another day. Going more than 3 weeks I've been up here since the corona thing at least started. Should be out here for pretty much the whole summer. I'll be happy when we can get to growing stuff. Get the gardens going. Well, waiting for the snow to melt. It snowed another like 4 or 5 inches last night. Just getting up. Just heard the plow guy clear the end of my road. Whoa. Snow is falling off the roof. Big chunks of it, but man, look. Looks super cool out here. Snow stacked up on top of the poles there. Well, there's been a lot of snow. It looks super nice when it's all snowy like this. And get the stove cranking again. Well, been clearing some land. Took all the hardwood, all the maple that I had to cut down. I've been cutting it up with a bow saw. Quite a pile of wood for a bow saw. Work a couple hours every day for the last 3 days. I'd say it's about 6 hours of work in all. Maybe a little more. That's a pretty good frickin' stack of wood, a 30-inch bow saw. Got one more to cut up. And there's the stack of trees that we're going to chip up and put the chips in the garden. And there's the land we're opening up. Trying to open up more stuff by the cabin. That way I can maybe have a little garden down here by the cabin. And maybe the mosquitoes won't be so bad if I open it up a little bit right here so the sun
dry all this out early in the year. Get some sun in here. When you got open sunny spots, the dragonflies will come in too. They won't come into places that are really thick. So open this up a little bit. I have a field back there too, so eventually I'm going to open this all up into a field. When they let the field overgrow, all these birch and alders came up, and now they're just like a thicket. But all my high land is covered in that, so it doesn't look like I have a lot, but there's like probably, I don't know, 15 acres right here that could be cleared and will be cleared eventually for farming. But it's a lot of clearing, a lot of work without a machine. If I had a dozer, I could just doze them all into a pile somewhere and bury all these trees. But the way I'm doing it, I'm cutting it up and I'm using them for firewood and for wood chips for the garden. And eventually I'm gonna have to get a much bigger wood chipper so I can put like piles and piles of stuff. Actually, eventually we're gonna get a wood grinder or a wood shredder that shreds them up so we can make compost and soil, our own compost and soil mix out of all the ground up trees that we have here on the property. You just mix some of the dirt on the property with the ground up trees and then let them sit for a year, and you should have some pretty good compost. That's one thing about nice being up here as the spring comes, is just a lot more time out in the woods and a lot more time outdoors. It's been a long winter. Coronavirus is still going crazy. They haven't locked down the US, but they've locked down California, New York City, New York State, I think, actually. I think 11 states are on lockdown right now. We're not on lockdown yet, but up here people are pretty paranoid anyway, so they just stay home when something like this is going on. And we all live so far apart from each other that you don't really have to worry about anything. I mean, you don't even catch the flu when you're up here, you know? You don't catch the flu the whole year you're up here. You don't get sick, you know, because you only go to town once a week and make it really brief, and you pretty much never get sick out here. So we're not too worried about Corona, but it's starting to rip through the US pretty hard, and Italy and Spain are just getting slaughtered by it. So I'm just staying out here in the woods, cutting firewood for next fall. Oh, March 26th, still just clearing. Got a nice side yard here at the cabin. Taking all the punky dead wood that's not really good enough for burning inside the cabin, and I'm starting to burn these stumps. This is one of the biggest stump clusters. I got this stump cluster here, and I got a stump cluster there, and then I'm gonna cut this down more, and I might cut that flat right there and make a little table right there. A little yard table, but I might just cut it down and then burn the stump too. But I got a cluster there and there, and another one behind this box. So over the next couple days I'll just burn these fires over the stumps, and even if I don't burn the stump completely away, if I can just scorch the stump and heat it up enough that it doesn't grow, it doesn't put sprouts off, so then all this cutting won't be for nothing. And then eventually we'll come in here with a tractor and pull up all the stumps out of this area here. But that's probably gonna be in a couple years. Right now I'm just trying to clear some land, get some of the sky back, and hopefully be enough sun. Keep the mosquitoes down. Fingers crossed on that one. So that's what I'm doing, stand by the fire. First open fire of the season. Psyched. Hard to decide. This one's better for limbing big trees. That one's better for everything else. I'm still clearing land over here, freeing up that maple tree. Gonna take that one for firewood. Big ass brush pile. I'm just gonna keep it right here, and these two trees are gonna be cut down, but the brush pile will stay here, and then I'll just keep on stacking it. And eventually we might burn it slowly, you know, pull pieces out and burn it. But for the most part, I just keep these in a couple spots on the property. And these big brush piles of sticks like this intertwined will actually help the squirrels and small animals get away from the coyotes. So if the coyotes are chasing them, if you have a brush pile like this every once in a while, they'll be able to get in there. And the coyotes, if the brush pile is big enough, the coyotes won't be able to dig them out easily, and they'll give up on them eventually. So I usually just keep them in a couple places, but sometimes when I have too many brush piles stacking up on me, I'll burn them. Or all the brush piles that are stuff that will fit into the wood chipper, of course, we put in the wood chipper. But when you cut down these maples, all the big branches at the top are all dangly and twisted and stuff, and they won't fit in that chipper. So I'll just make piles of them. And then the red squirrel, that's what we have up here. They live in these spruce trees. But then the red squirrel has a place to hide if it's being chased by the coyotes. The fox can probably get him in there. And the fisher cat maybe too, but I don't know. Probably not, because they can, you know, the squirrel can just go all the way around and, you know, hide. Yeah, so cutting wood. It's been 30 days. It's been a whole month now I've been up here hiding from the coronavirus. Getting a lot of firewood done though. I probably have about a quarter of what I need done in all. So over the next month I should be able to cut enough firewood and have it drying for next fall. Just using the axe and the handsaw. No chainsaw this year. April 1st. Look at that big brush fire. It is a pile of coals under there. It is hot. That's how you get this brush burnt right. You gotta build a big coal base, and then once you do that, everything you throw on it will just go right up. Well, things are going pretty good at camp. Brush pile's almost gone. That stuff's all from last year. All the stuff from this year, from cutting firewood, is already burnt. Burnt that all up in the last couple hours. So this is all the stuff that's too small to put in the chipper. If I had a chipper with like a 6-inch feed on it, I could feed a lot of this stuff. But since I have that chipper with just that little 2.5, 3-inch feed, it takes way too long to process small stuff like this. You basically can only process, you know, wrist size to like 2 finger size. Anything smaller than that takes up way too much time, and then anything bigger than that, the machine won't run. So eventually I got to get a better chipper, or I got to find somebody who has an old tree grinder, because grinding it and not chipping it, grinding it actually makes better soil and compost at least. But I guess the chips are probably better for putting on top of the garden to keep the weeds out. But the chips take a long time to break down, so when you grind it up and make like it's like a shredded chip. That's what it looks like when it's grinded, when it's ground, and that'll break down really quick. You can make really good compost with that. Still make good compost with wood chips, just takes a couple years for it to really break down. So just getting this stuff all burnt up, and I still have I've probably only gotten a quarter of my firewood for next year done. And I've been working on it for like a week and a half now. But that's pretty good. By the time the leaves come on the trees, I should have all of it done. And
anything that I'll at least have all the trees down is I need to cut probably 30 decent sized maple trees. And I have like 3 or 4 really old maple trees that are on their way out anyways, so I'm going to cut those down, and those have a lot of wood, but they're really big and I can't process them with a handsaw. I really got to wait until my chainsaw's back up and running. But I'll at least drop them and lay them on the ground, so this summer when I have free time in the chainsaw I can just go in and work it and cut it up, and then I'll pile it all out in the woods, and then when the snow comes back next year I'll go get it with a sled, hopefully with a snowmobile. The plan is to have a snowmobile by next season. Still just hiding out from COVID-19 though. It's gone crazy. I took a trip to town 3 days ago. I wore a mask and gloves and everything. And that's probably going to be my last trip to town, at least for the next month. So I have about 2 weeks of meat in the cooler. And then by the time that 2 weeks is up, all the ice will be melted. And then I'm going to have to go a couple weeks without any fresh meat. I got some canned meat and stuff that I can eat though. So that's what's going on. But we got like, I don't know, over 200,000 cases right now just in the US. And it totally destroyed Italy and Spain, and it's still destroying them. And France is starting to get hit pretty hard. The Chinese say they have it under control, but I think they're lying to us. But no cases out here in my town. It's only 7 residents in the whole town, and I'm definitely don't have to worry about it. As long as I don't go to town, I don't have to worry about it. But even when I go to town, if I wear PPE, personal protection equipment, like enough of it, and then clean myself properly going in and out of town, I could probably keep from getting it. But I'm gonna just hold off. The next 3 weeks are gonna be really bad, so I'm just not gonna go to town. Chopping firewood. Yeah. Now that thing's burning real good. I'm gonna wait until the rest of the snow melts this next week, and then we'll burn that pile. But we'll move it over here away from the cabin, so I don't have to worry about the cabin. That's stuff that I left there from last year. It'll be nice and dry. Once the sun comes on it and melts all that snow, that'll be really dry and dead. But we might not do it here. I'm gonna cut that stump down, and then we'll probably do the fire right there just to kill that stump, because those maples will shoot off like a million shoots if you don't do something about them. Pretty nice though. All the stuff that I can't turn into wood chips or turn into firewood is pretty much gone now. And got quite a bit of yard opened up here. I got a little bit more trees here I want to take out, and then I'll have 2 acres cleared down here. Just about. And a cabin. Sweet. Yeah, everybody else is stuck inside with no work to do. But out here, not only am I not at risk of getting the virus, but didn't change anything on my work schedule. I still have to cut wood all day. I still have plenty of stuff to do. You know, everything that I do up here, I can still do. So it's another benefit of living off grid and living on your own time and living in your own space. When stuff like this happens, it doesn't really affect your life much, you know. I mean, I have to stop getting Amazon packages soon, but I've ordered everything I need for the gardens. So there's really no need for the rest of the year. And if I get something from Amazon, I'll just have to order it like 9 or 10 days in advance. And then I'll haul the box in the sled and put it in the greenhouse or something without touching it. And then after 9 days of that package being quarantined, everything should be dead on it. You know, when it sits in the greenhouse in the sun like that, the virus can't live more than a day in that. So if I have to get packages, that's what I'll do. I'll just put them in the greenhouse and let the sun kill all the virus off, and then open up the package after like 7 to 8 days, probably 9 days. They said that they've had this virus live up to 17 days, is, you know, through testing and through investigation of how long it lives on surfaces, but that was under like really certain conditions, and as soon as the temperatures go above 70 degrees, the virus doesn't have a very long half-life. Man, almost done burning. Look at that. That's like the chasms of hell. That's the kind of fire you want if you're going to be doing outdoor winter survival. Make a fire like that. Definitely be warm all night. Doesn't matter how cold it is.
Like social distancing and like all of the emergency preparedness that we're now
Listening to NPR.
to try to deal with.
Shut this off for a second. This is going to sound like some real crazy conspiracy stuff. But it almost seems like this was all done on purpose. Coronavirus was done on purpose. The Chinese did it on purpose, and it wasn't just the Chinese plan. I think it was the UN plan altogether. And part of the eugenics, or the Agenda 21 thing that's going on out there. Someone just drove past the house. That sounds really crazy, but one, this virus and the shutdown will show the world how much we can cut down pollution and how easily we can do it. And it forces everybody to do it. So, they're going to be able to say after this, okay, this is what we can do, and it obviously cuts down on the pollution this much. We know how easy it is. But what we had to do is everybody had to stay home from work, which has destroyed the economies. On top of that, China pretty much knew how to keep it under control because they've done with SARS. Plus, China's economy was hurting really bad because Trump was giving them shit and putting all kinds of taxes and regulations and everything on their exports. And on top of that, all the Democrats, United Nations, and China all pretty much don't like Trump, and Trump was basically winning in every direction. He had just gotten through his impeachment. All this stuff was going on. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a coincidence. It seems like this all happened for a reason. And I know that sounds like crazy conspiracy stuff, but it all kind of makes sense. Plus, after this happens, when everybody goes back to work, a lot of people who live in the country are not going to be able to make a living out here anymore, unless they actually live off the land, which most people don't. Even more industry than already had is going to move to big cities. So basically, everything that comes from a pandemic aligns perfectly with the Agenda 21 and with their goals for 2030. So, I mean, that's something to think about. It may be crazy. It may be a crazy way to think that this was done on purpose. But the timing and everything, like I was saying before the memory got cut out there. Yeah, it's just crazy timing. But also, I may be going crazy because, I've been out here at camp for 6 weeks now. Which isn't bad. I spent the whole summer out here, but we'll see how I'm doing at the end of the summer. After I've been out here for 6 months in the whole time the pandemic is like unfolding out there. Probably be super crazy by then. But I've been 6 weeks social distancing. Came up here 2 months earlier than I was planning on. I wasn't going to come out here until spring when it's time to open the gardens up and everything. But I'm out here cutting firewood, getting things done. Thinking about how crazy of a coincidence it is that everything is just worked out like it is. Like, they're really just trying to screw Trump over. I know that's what's going on here. And it's probably going to backfire on him pretty bad. We'll see.